Hello and welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today we are doing a deep dive into a phenomenon that every single person listening has experienced. It is a moment of confusion, a glitch in the matrix. That feeling when you walk into a room and completely freeze because you have absolutely no idea why you are there. You stand there looking at the furniture, looking at your hands, retracing your steps, but the intention is just gone. It is widely known as the doorway effect. And for years people have joked that it is a sign of aging, or maybe just having a scatterbrain. But today, we are going to flip that narrative. Based on extensive research in neuroscience and psychology, we know now that this forgetfulness is not a bug in your system, it is actually a feature. It is a side effect of a brilliant mechanism your brain uses to make sense of reality, a process called event segmentation. Over the next 20 minutes, we are going to unpack exactly how your brain edits your life in real time, why Hollywood directors know more about your brain than you do, and how this specific quirk of memory is helping engineers teach artificial intelligence to see the world. Let's start with the fundamental problem your brain faces every single day: the data load. Your brain receives roughly 11 million bits of information per second from your senses. 11 million. If you were to record your life like a continuous security camera feed, just one long, unedited video file from birth to death, the file size would be impossible to manage. Imagine trying to remember where you left your keys if your memory was just one continuous stream of footage spanning years. You would have to scrub through thousands of hours of video just to find that one moment. It would be an unsearchable blur. So evolution provided a solution. The brain doesn't record a continuous stream, it records in chapters. This is the core of event segmentation theory. Your brain automatically slices the continuous, chaotic stream of reality into discrete, manageable chunks. It draws invisible lines in time. It separates eating breakfast from driving to work, and driving to work from arriving at the office. Without this mechanism, you wouldn't be able to recall that time you went to the beach, because your brain wouldn't have a file labeled beach trip. It wouldn't know where that event started or ended. So how does the brain actually do this? How does it decide where to put the cut? It relies on a mechanism called predictive processing. This is a crucial concept to understand. At any given moment, your brain is not just passively receiving information. It is actively running a simulation, predicting what is about to happen next. Think about when you are pouring a cup of coffee. Your brain has a model for this event. It predicts the weight of the pot, the sound of the liquid hitting the mug, the steam rising, and the water level going up. As long as everything happens the way your brain expects, you remain in the current event model. You are in the pouring coffee chapter of your day. But, let's say the phone rings, or you knock the mug over, or, most famously, you walk through a doorway into a completely different room. Suddenly, the input from your senses contradicts your brain's prediction. The visual scene changes from a small, tiled kitchen to a carpeted living room. The acoustics change. The lighting changes. This causes a spike in what neuroscientists call prediction error. Your brain realizes that its current model of the world is no longer valid. So in milliseconds, it performs a hard cut. This is the critical moment. When that error spikes, your brain saves the current state of your working memory, effectively hitting save on the kitchen chapter. And then it clears the buffer to initialize a new event model for the living room chapter. This rapid flushing of working memory is exactly why you forget what you came for. The intention to get the scissors was tied to the kitchen event model. That model has just been archived and closed. You are now in the living room model, and the file containing the scissors instruction is no longer active in your RAM, to use a computer metaphor. This isn't just a theory. We can see it happening in the brain structure. We have to talk about the hippocampus. You probably know the hippocampus as the brain's memory center, but in this context, think of it as a binder or a librarian. When that prediction error happens, and an event boundary is triggered, the hippocampus lights up. It takes the snapshot of the event that just finished, the summary of that chapter, and binds it into a cohesive memory trace. A 2020 study using fMRI scans showed that the hippocampus is essentially stitching these discrete events together into a sequential narrative. Without it, your life would feel like a series of disconnected TikTok clips rather than a full movie, and there is a chemical component to this too. When that prediction error occurs, like a loud noise interrupting your reading or walking into a new environment, your brain releases a burst of dopamine. Now, we usually associate dopamine with pleasure, but here, it acts as a learning signal. It is a gate opener. It tells your prefrontal cortex, pay attention. The situation has changed. Update the model. This is why surprising or novel experiences are more memorable. That high prediction error triggers a massive dopamine spike, which etches a deep, distinct chapter break in your memory. Let's look at the most famous experiment regarding this, conducted by Gabriel Radvansky at the University of Notre Dame. He wanted to see if the doorway effect was real or just anecdotal. He set up a study where participants moved through a virtual environment. They had to pick up an object from a table, put it in a virtual backpack, and move it to another table. In condition A, they walked across a large room. In condition B, they walked the same distance, but they had to pass through a doorway into a different room. At random intervals, they were quizzed. What is in your backpack? The results were consistent and statistically significant. Participants were slower and less accurate at remembering what was in their backpack after walking through a doorway. The physical boundary forced the brain to dump the Room 1 event model. Since the object was put in the backpack in Room 1, that memory was archived with that room. It was harder to access in the active working memory of Room 2, and just to be sure this wasn't just a video game quirk, they built a real-world maze of rooms and ran it again. The results were identical. The brain treats a physical threshold as a fundamental demarcation of reality. This leads to a very practical tip right off the bat. If you walk into a room and forget why, go back. Literally physically walk back into the previous room. Returning to the original context reloads the old event model, and often, the memory pops right back up. Oh, I needed the scissors. Now this is where it gets really interesting. This neurological process isn't just about forgetting keys. It is the secret sauce behind cinema and storytelling. Hollywood editors are practically unlicensed neuroscientists. Long before we had fMRI machines, film editors figured out how to hack this system. There is a legendary editor named Walter Murch, who edited Apocalypse Now and The Godfather. He wrote a book called In the Blink of an Eye. He observed that people naturally blink when they finish a thought or process a visual idea. He argued that a cut in a film should occur exactly where the audience would naturally blink, at the moment of an event boundary. If the editor cuts at the wrong time, it feels jarring. If they cut at the event boundary, the cut becomes invisible. Filmmakers use a technique called continuity editing to respect your brain's prediction models. Think about the 180-degree rule. If two people are talking, the camera stays on one side of them. If the camera suddenly jumped to the other side, the left-right orientation would flip. This would cause a massive prediction error in your brain. You would think, wait, why are they swapped? That split second of confusion pulls you out of the story. There is also a technique called match on action. This is when a cut happens during a movement. A character starts to stand up in a wide shot and finishes standing up in a close-up. You would think this visual jump would be obvious, but it is almost invisible to the viewer. Why? Because your brain's event model is focused on the goal of the action, standing up. As long as the action is continuous, your brain ignores the visual discontinuity of the cut. Great directors play with this. Think about Christopher Nolan's Inception. That film is a masterclass in nested event models. He places characters in dreams within dreams, forcing the audience to maintain multiple active event models simultaneously. The kick, the signal to wake up, is a synchronized event boundary across all levels, collapsing the models in a cascade that feels incredibly satisfying to our brains. On the flip side, think of Alfred Hitchcock's Rope or the recent movie 1917. They are filmed to look like one continuous shot. There are no visual cuts. Without those cuts to signal event boundaries, the film creates a sense of claustrophobia and unrelenting tension. Your brain is denied its usual chapter breaks, which creates a genuine physiological stress response. This understanding of event segmentation is now moving from Hollywood to Silicon Valley. As we try to build artificial general intelligence and robots that can navigate the world, we are realizing that the old way of doing computer vision is wrong. Traditional computer vision analyzes video frame by frame. It captures a picture, analyzes every pixel, then captures the next picture, and does it again. This is incredibly inefficient. It is like reading a book by analyzing every single letter rather than reading words. A self-driving car analyzing every pixel of a highway at 60 frames per second is wasting massive processing power on the 99% of the road that isn't changing. So engineers are developing event cameras, also known as neuromorphic cameras. These are inspired directly by the human eye and brain. Unlike standard cameras that capture frames at a set interval, event cameras only record changes. If nothing moves, the camera sends zero data. If a ball flies across the screen, only the pixels detecting the motion fire. This mimics the brain's prediction error system. The camera ignores the static background, the stable event model, and only reports the deviation. This allows for reaction times in microseconds, which is crucial for a drone dodging a tree or a car avoiding a pedestrian. Researchers are even training neural networks, like EventSegNet, to watch videos and automatically identify meaningful segments. They are teaching AI that chopping an onion and putting it in the pan are two distinct events. If a robot can segment a cooking demonstration into steps, into chapters, it can learn to cook. If it sees it as just a continuous stream of motion, it can't learn the process. We are effectively teaching machines to watch the world the way we do. So we have covered the neuroscience, the movies, and the robots. But how does this help you right now? Understanding that your brain operates in chapters gives you a user manual for your own mind. You can exploit event segmentation theory to improve your productivity and your emotional well-being. First, let's talk about the reset walk. We know that moving through a doorway clears working memory. Usually, that is annoying. But you can use it to your advantage when you are stuck on a difficult problem, or you are in an argument, or you are just feeling a loop of anxiety. Change your location. Physically stand up, walk through a door, go to a different room, or step outside. That physical boundary triggers a hard cut in your brain. It clears the frustrated event model and allows you to approach the problem with a fresh buffer. You are forcing a reboot of your working memory. Second, use this for learning. We call this chunking. Memory is anchored to event boundaries. If you sit at your desk for 3 hours straight studying, it blurs into one long, gray, forgettable event. You want to artificially create event boundaries to increase the number of anchors in your memory. Change contexts. Study topic A at your desk. Then, move to the couch for topic B. Go to a coffee shop for topic C. The change in environment creates distinct chapters for each topic, making them easier to recall individually without interference. This is also why the Pomodoro technique works. Working for 25 minutes and taking a 5-minute break imposes boundaries. Each session becomes a discrete event, making the time feel more structured. Third, there is a concept called narrative journaling. Research suggests that people who naturally segment events well, those who agree on where the boundaries are, have better long-term memories. You can train this. At the end of the day, don't just list what you did. Write a narrative that explicitly defines the chapters of your day. Label them: the morning rush, the deep work session, the evening relax. By retrospectively defining these boundaries, you reinforce the neural pathways in the hippocampus, committing the day to long-term memory more effectively. As we look to the future, this theory is going to become even more critical with virtual reality. In VR, you can teleport instantly from a beach to a boardroom. While that sounds convenient, it might wreak havoc on our event segmentation. Early VR users often report a sense of disorientation or time compression. Without the physical cues of travel, the commute event that separates home from work, our brains struggle to compartmentalize our lives. Future VR operating systems might actually need to introduce artificial transit times or virtual airlocks, hallways you have to walk through to switch apps, just to give the human brain the moment it needs to close one event model and open the next. Ultimately, event segmentation reveals a really poetic truth about human existence. We are not passive observers of the world. We are active authors. We do not just record reality. We edit it. We cut the boring bits, we emphasize the twists, and we break the endless flow of time into a story that makes sense. The next time you walk into a room and forget what you needed, don't be annoyed. Take a moment to appreciate the sophisticated machinery inside your skull. Your brain just turned the page. You are simply waiting for the next chapter to begin. Thanks for listening to G Fun Facts Online.